This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review. Wednesday, August 23rd, NVDA earnings just came out. Let's get into it. So, as we expected, rising into earnings, not surprised, especially NVIDIA earnings. As we talked about, potentially the market was in an oversold position, market's in chaos, CNBC stuff last week. You know, usually those are inflection points near term. And as we've said 1,000 times, if you have not been paying attention, I can't help you then. The market was going to test the 20-day on a pop off of what? The lows. The first drop usually gets bought. It actually always gets bought. So glad you took advantage of sub. I know a lot of folks have been absolutely murdering it. I appreciate the love, the support, the generous donations. Again, we're not always right, but we're a probability-based, strategized trading group that's trying to do what the market does. So now what? Let's get into it. If you're new to the Discord channel, link in the description below. Check out the Twitter, posting such. Again, I think I've posted this like every other, what felt like every other hour, 20-day potentially. Also check out the wick cross. I do so many things. Again, follow on Twitter, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube. Also check out the Trading Agent website, www.thetradingagent. And then the Back to Basics series is more beginner to advanced stuff, videos, again, also on YouTube channel. Tons of real estate content, tons of things about trading, how to turn, make money. The goal of the channel, again, is to make money and turn it into income to buy real assets that pay you. You don't always want to trade your whole life. You don't want to be paying attention to the market every day, of every hour, of every month, of every year. It will make your hair fall out. I'm just kidding. Sponsored by Rogaine. No, it's just one of those things. Like, it's less is more in time, right? Make more money, work less. All right, pause, next meeting. Next, Bitcoin. Chopping. We said watch the 25, 26,000 level. Would not be surprised if we back tested at some point. Oil, you're welcome. We talked about it failing here in the mid 85s. There's going to be a lot of you're welcomes, and I told you so's. We said oil usually gets a little baby blip. All right. Well, you better hold the 77 area. Natural gas, again, I have no opinion on it. I really just talk about it because there's always one or two. You're like, what do you think? What do you think? Dollar, as we said, is it going to really break out? Tried to. Now it's backing off. We said the volume yesterday on the daily review is rather shiitake mushroom. And look at today's action. Market pop is $1 down. TLT, you're welcome. Again, my biggest cheerleader, Jay Solstice, my man. One of my moderators for my Discord room. Love it. Talked about pro gap this morning. It's like, yeah, look at that. 20-day, probably incoming. The only thing I would be curious about with TLT is the recurring pattern of tops can be choppy. Now, it doesn't mean we can't rise up to the 20-day. Couldn't rise up to, say, maybe 99 area, and then it come back and chop later. Because remember, we had, in October, boom, and then a retest in November. Not saying that the pro gap, I mean, again, this could go on for a couple days. Keep in mind, typically a professional gap starts a move, right? Well, then the back test at some point. Either way, if you were long TLT, short options, calls, more you're up, less you own. Don't be surprised if a back test. I mean, worst case scenario, maybe we retest only 94. I don't know. But we do know what? No different than the first drop gets bought. Probably the first pop off of Zillows gets sold. Make sense? It should make sense. Again, this stuff isn't rocket science, folks. It's reoccurring patterns. It's like, what planet are you on? VIX said, don't be surprised to get like 14 or 15. Either the 120-day cross or this area around here. Either way, I think there's a little more upside. VIVX, we talked about breaking out and getting pounded. Come on back down. Seems like we're coming back into the mid 80s, right? Anyone have any questions about that? No. Hit me up. SPY, what did we say? 20-day. All right, well, after hours, what are we at? 445, 63. If we get there tomorrow, again, if we get there tomorrow, do not be surprised if potentially you could close there, go a little higher for a day. I've shown this in previous videos. I'm not going to do it again. It's for the sake of time. Start to take profits. Once the 20 days currently down, now it becomes resistance. The odds of it being resistance, and it could temporarily get over it in the morning, right? It could temporarily get over it for a day or two. I'm just telling you right now, watch the area. Think to yourself, if I have profits long, I need to take them. If I'm looking to short, bring it. I told people, take some profits today, have some cash. Gifts galore. I also said, watch the 20, 50 day, but also said, could we get to the channel? Well, after hours, we're up at 373. It's always in play, okay? Okay, got it? Good. IWM, we talked about this oversold rally coming in it. All right, after hours, back to the 186. Man, I would, again, this is why you try to know the levels and you don't bring a ruler to trading. That looks very obvious. Like, the pop will probably flop at some point. Dia, chopping around. Maybe, this thing looks pretty shitty, actually. But just keep an eye on it. Gold, as we said, I have no desire to short it. We said, keep an eye as it was oversold, coming down pretty quickly. You're welcome. If you took profits, now it gapped up. And this is people like, what now? Should I short it now? Just leave gold alone. I think it's going to be choppy and sloppy. Silver, massive squeeze real quick. Big gap. Look where it's going to get into. 100 day. Again, personally, the GDX, the miners have, again, we said this all recently. Be careful down here. The candles were shrinking. The momentum was being lost. The market, or these things have been hammered. Okay. I even said recommended Newmont. Keep them. Go watch yesterday's video. Keep them. Either way. Expected to bounce. Do you want to get excited about it? It's your call. GDXJ, nice little pop. I mean, again, what levels? I just don't even really. There's so many more significant things to follow right now than miners. AG, God, that sucks. Pops and then just gives it all back. AEM, probably retesting some of the. I was gonna say the breakdown zones. Interesting close. We'll see. Newmont. This made sense to me. Holding, massive support. First test of it should bounce, and then maybe fail later. Pass. Again, if silver's up, so it's a pass. 100, 200 day, looking good. Looking good. My friends, let's get into tech, because this is where, again, we expected the bounce. You're freaking welcome. Said the 100 day, after hours at 97. Do your damnedest. Again, I think it makes obvious sense to put in your mind that if you want to short some of these things, have your levels, right? Because now you got the QQQ at the 20, 50 day, maybe the channel, right? You got the SPY, right? At the 20 day, probably at some point. Remember wicks. Wicks are great because then they'll set some traps, get some even more short covering, and then it can exhaust, or it's going to be choppy at those zones. Know your levels. Again, if you short these things, do not just sit there and go, well, I can't be wrong. Set your stops. Who knows, right? Micron, probably going to be up, I was going to say 66, probably the 20 day. Some really juicy shorts. AM Dizzle, we said don't be surprised, maybe it's like the 50 day, where it's at 113.59. Yep. Don't be surprised if it fills the gap. Again, I'm putting all this stuff out there, and I want to hear from you folks. If you take these trades, let me know. I'm curious because I think there are shorts. NVDA, again, we knew they were going to hammer it home. After hours, it is at 515.50. How many upgrades are they going to get tomorrow? Please do not short after hours. Now, again, if China blows up or Europe blows up after the close, well, you know what? So it be. Look, I think we're going to get back up to the channel high. How do you want to draw it? I mean, you could always draw it from wick to wick, too. I mean, God, could we get up to? Always possible. Like the NVDS, probably near 30. Intel, here you go. Here you go. We talked about it holding, right? The 100 day, probably going to test back to the 20 day, maybe fill the, again, I'm drawing these for you guys. Sorry, this video might be a little longer. Watch the gap. Please mind the gap. SMH, same thing. We said 155 area. After hours, you're at 157.89. I mean, could we fill the gap? That would be pretty bonkers, but I've seen crazier. Honestly, I've seen chop zones for like what seems like a year. Maybe it's this gap right here. Keep an eye. We don't know how the market's going to open, but long story short, right? Long story short, let's keep it. I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, this is what you want to short into, right? Just like when there's big dips, we got to cover some of our shorts. That is swing trading, managing the position, trading around it. I fucking love it. Gets me excited because, again, this is how you profit from the volatility, the trends. Like, it's not straight line moves. Take a deep breath and relax. All right, just had a Monster Energy. Adobe, chopping around. Apple, again, in the Discord room, slammed home, said this felt like a trap. Here we go. Now, how high to 20 day? The 20-day has been very important, right? Let's just put that out there again. Another trade, because remember, it rode the 20-day up. Broken it. Once it broke, it mattered. Now, I'm going to put that there. We'll come back and see what happens. Amazon.com. Probably popping a little after hours, 137. Who cares? Fill the gap. Short. Again, if I'm wrong, define your risk. Don't just sit here and go, well, Dan said short, I'm going to hold short. No. What is your risk tolerance? CRM? Probably stuck here. This isn't going anywhere. This stock looks like it's just going to roll over. Guggenheim, trying to break out. Weaken it. This looks very interesting to me again. On a pop tomorrow, I think you have very easy short with stops. Meta, probably 20 days. Yeah, 304. Watch it. I mean, all of these just so juicy. Again, when we took profits at the lows, hedged, we also said look for the pops, and then when you get them, juicy, 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 juicy J. I mean, again, maybe the 50-day. I think it's at 334. Yep. It's funny because I got multiple screens. You guys know that. I'm like, maybe I wonder if it's just chilling at the 50-day after hours. Literally, as we're recording this, it got up to 335. Ding, 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 ding. NDAQ. Chopping. Just, again, we'll talk about it another time. MicroStrategy said it should hold here. Fills the gap. I mean, it's really dependent on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin rallies, I think you can see exactly where the next resistance zone would be. It's going to be here. Maybe the 20-day. It's all curling out. Again, set your alerts. Don't just sit here and feel like you got to sit there and watch it. Netflix. Ooh. I didn't realize it got up this high today. Look at that freaking wick. Oh, man. Someone needs to let me know. I mean, I guess you could draw it like that. Let's just see what happens here. That looks... These four, again, so you get in the oversold position, and and the market wants to squeeze because the market's going higher. That feels very exhaustive. Does this make sense? Like that long wick is showing you, and again, the selling didn't start until what? Man, it started at basically lunchtime, and then everything down. Roblox sold this, thought it was going to pop. I do think this bounces at some point, but it's going to probably squeeze when shorts start covering because it's already down a ton. That's how it usually happens. Some of the laggards will get uncovered short because they'll go into other things. Does this make sense? So, I mean, I like it down here, but I don't. If it didn't work, it didn't work. I want to take cash to put it work elsewhere. Tesla, we talked about holding our trend line. Watch. After hours, 243. Coming into levels. Gotta love it. Materials. X supposedly going to get bought out. We'll see. Chopping around. Going to move faster. Nucor, because not really so much say in the commodities. After hours, doing a mixed shelf offering down a little bit. Either way, who cares? Caterpillar, chopping around, probably the 20-day max. VALE, Sam liked this one yesterday, said, okay, watch it. Probably can fill the gap now since you're over this range. Again, global growth, I mean, it just depends. The market holds up, it's going to be fine. If it doesn't, just don't be surprised. Arrow, we talked about it rallying, taking some time. Maybe the 20-day. Again, a lot of these names I don't give a crap about paying attention to. Tech is where the action is. CCJ, this is where it gets a little interesting. Look at these dojis. Just keep an eye on this. That feels very top-ish. Could be wrong, but that formation is typically top-ish. CF, again, we talked about ag names. Love them. We talked about how they had these big rallies and they broke trend. Look at this retest. Remember I talked about breaking trend and retesting the backside of it? Kelly Kapowski. Mosaic, same thing. Not the same thing, but it's going to break trend at some point. Let it go. NTR. Nothing much. Again, they all broke trend. We like these names, but we're looking for retest. Alcoa, another global growth name. Been smoked. Just let it do what it's got to do. XLF. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Again, we talked about it being oversold, and not surprised. But they're not really acting that well, which is interesting, right? It's like the IWM, just not really getting into it. JP Morgan, you would think today would be up like $3 or $4. Nope. Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe they catch a rally tomorrow. I don't know. Morgan Stanley, this thing has just been absolute garbage. Goldman Sachs held the trend line. We talked about this. Now how high? I mean, you might have a 10 or 15 point move. It looks logical. KRE, we said watch out once it broke the 50. Here's the 100. I mean, did we hit it exact? What was the exact low today? 42.81. I mean, 3 cents. Close enough for government work. Not surprised if it has a little bounce in it. Maybe it's just a one-day thing. I don't know. Okay? Whew. All right, so here we go with XBI. Talked about it being oversold, rallying. just keep an eye on it, you know? I mean, that's all I can really say. All right, tan, we talked about it. It's probably going to hold, right? Probably going to hold. So far, so good. ENPH, again, we love these names, are short, but they're oversold. Let them rally some. I mean, let the rumors come, and then CEO will sell some more shares. All these names oversold. First Solar. We said, didn't I say yes? Watch this. I was like, don't be surprised if we held here for even if a couple days. Look for a rally. HYG, nice, decent little rally up back into like the moving averages. I don't know if we'll be able to get over it. Let's end it with oil and gas. Because again, what did we say? Oil is going to come down. Bonds up. Here you go. Oil down. At gas. Chopping. I don't even know why I look at this. Holy shiitake mushrooms. It's a waste of time. Wait till the reverse split on UNG. Talked about XOP struggling near 115. 20-day. See what happens here. ExxonMobil, again, talked about 110 to 111 area. Look at it. Got up here. We said this is probably a professional gap, a lower high, lower low. Again, it could hold up with the market. Occidental, I mean, it's probably going nowhere. Buffett probably sold, I don't know, 50 to 100 million dollars worth of options. He doesn't care. He's not marking this thing up. PXD, nice work if you shorted 240, 239. Looking good. EQT, look at this. Again, this is why the levels matter. Hits the 44. Look at this. Is that, I said this, novice gap, and I said, be careful. Is this novice gap 2.0? Go watch the previous recaps. Look at that. Professional gap broke the 20-day. Adios, amigo. Flex LNG. Again, we like natural gas exportation. Over the long term, we expect it. All right. If you're new to the channel, check out Discord room. Link in the description below. I appreciate the love, the support, the generous donations. Again, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. The education is free. I want people to take advantage of it. And if you're making money on it, I appreciate any chip off the old block, whether it's for a beer, a dinner, you want to buy me a nice gift, whatever. I mean, my P.O. box is also in the Discord room. I appreciate you guys. Let me know how I can help. Take 30 minutes, schedule a Calendly. Let's talk. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Do you need help with real estate? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy an investment property? Do you need to sell a house? You want to get divorced? You need help with anything? I'm here to help. All right? I'm trying to make a joke there. Anyway, I will see you guys and gals in the Discord room and on the social medias. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.